How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. This originally came out March 22nd, 2024, and is the fourth entry in the main Ghostbusters timeline, the fifth overall movie, and a direct follow-up to Ghostbusters Afterlife. This movie was directed by Gil Kenan and stars Mckenna Grace, then Wolfhard, Paul Rudd, and of course features special appearances from the original Ghostbusters, which is always great. Right off the bat, I do want to say I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I really do love the movies, and I loved when Afterlife came out, getting to peek back into the original continuity, and I was glad that Afterlife did get a sequel. And to be honest, I hope they make a ton more of these. The Ghostbusters world is one that I never really get tired of, and I was just super excited for this movie. And going in, I really did like returning to the world. There's just a bunch of cool stuff. Getting to live in the firehouse again, getting to be back in New York and do some classic ghostbusting, but also getting to see like Winston's new laboratory. That was cool. And yeah, there's a ton of fun stuff with the world of this movie, and nice little homages to the original, a few fun ghost cameos, and just getting to see things like the old reactor, or getting to see like classic proton packs and the new additions proton packs, and the cool little things the Ecto-1 can do, like shoot the drone out of the roof now. There's some pretty fun stuff, and you know, if you're nerds, you know, like me, I go and I watch the movie and I see that Winston's lab has the Ghostbusters logo, but with a little gear shape around the edges, and I'm like, that's fun. I kind of want that on a t-shirt now, you know? So it's just a really cool world that we do get to see fleshed out in a very big movie, but I think that also kind of leads to a bit of the problem is, you know, we are fleshing out quite a lot. There is a ton of characters, and there's a lot going on with this movie. It overall was one that I really liked, but also knew it had quite a few problems, and I do kind of wish that, you know, they had picked a few of these plot points and focused more on fewer characters and just gave us a better story, because I think with this movie, I liked the world much more than I did the story, and there's just too much going on. It felt like they took a whole season of a Ghostbusters streaming show and decided to compress it down into one movie, and yeah, it does feel a little unfocused and it does feel messy. I mean, you have the Firehouse crew, you have the Winston's Laboratory crew, you have the Ray's Occult books, then you have things like Kumail Nanjiani, who is a fun character, but again, another plot element. And then you have the bad guy, and then you have this story with Phoebe and a friendly ghost, and overall that's like 6 major plot things, and I'm like, maybe we could have focused on like 3 of them and had a more focused movie where the things get better fleshed out. And it does feel like the plot elements are fighting with each other, and there are, you know, like I said, a ton of characters, and a lot of them don't get too much screen time. I do wish that this either was a streaming show where we did get enough time for every little thing, or they had just broke it into like 2 or maybe 3 movies, you know? But like I said, I love the Ghostbusters world, and even though this was a little unfocused and a little bit messy, I love to escape to this world. So not the best movie ever by any means, but still, it is good fun, and I'll definitely pick it up when the Blu-ray comes out. Anyway, I guess in order to talk a bit about this, let's talk a bit about the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, and I know people are extra sensitive to new movies, but I do want to take a minute, break down and analyze and talk about what works and doesn't. I will talk a little bit deeper about the plot. Again, no major spoilers, but if you guys want to go in fresher, feel free to pause here and come back after the movie. Anyway, we open up with the new Ghostbusters, which will be Paul Rudd and the Spangler family. And yeah, I know people have said, you know, these were just regular people in Oklahoma, and now they're in New York being Ghostbusters. I do hope Winston gave them a little bit of training between movies, but we get to see them running around doing classic ghostbusting, and we do get to see their family dynamic. Paul Rudd is the stepfather. He's, not married yet, and how do the kids accept him? And you do get Phoebe having to be benched, actually, because the mayor of New York found out that she was only 15, and you probably shouldn't be doing dangerous Ghostbuster stuff when you're that young. So there's some drama there, but we get at Ray's occult books, and yeah, Ray is a pretty big part of this movie, and I did love getting him in a more expanded role, but he's there with a podcast as like his intern and apprentice who's helping him run a show, but he's buying haunted objects at Ray's occult books, and this one guy brings in a sphere, and the sphere has insane paranormal energy, and they of course immediately grab it up. They send it to Winston's lab. That's where Lucky is. They kind of took the other two kids from Afterlife and put one in each group, so they're at least in the movie, even though a much smaller role. But they find out that there's some evil spirit inside the sphere, and that it's beginning to influence other ghosts around it, and it's only a matter of time before it breaks out. So yeah, a big, crazy enemy going to raise the dead as an army and take over the world, that sort of thing. And overall, like I said earlier, having a ton of crews, Firehouse, Lab, and Ray's Occult Books, it does get a lot. And I do like, Kumail Nanjiani's character, kind of the normal everyday guy that gets pulled into all this. Didn't you know what that was before you sold it? Oh, it came from your house. Don't you know who your family was? And getting to uncover that mystery there, that was really good, and I kind of wish he was more of a main character, because it is like crucial to the plot. And I think that probably would have been the best, is, to focus on just, that and a few other things related to the plot. Because, here's another thing. Phoebe, essentially the main character of Afterlife in this one, and when she gets benched, it leads to this plot where she befriends a ghost who's about her age, and we get the start of a lot of questions, and they're interesting questions and things that I would love the franchise to explore, but they don't ever really wrap it up, and it doesn't feel like it connects to the main part of the movie. When she befriends this ghost, you get to think about what it's like to be a ghost, what happens to you when you pass on, and you do also get to wonder, okay, she's human, why do so many of these other ghosts look like strange, monstrous puppets, and what happens when they're in the containment unit? Can they pass on when they're in there? And, you get to think a lot of interesting stuff about ghosts, but it doesn't ever really reach any conclusions. I would love to know why so many ghosts in Ghostbusters look weird. Are they human ghosts, or is that other spiritual entities? And I wonder about the ghost, and this sets up so many things, getting to talk to one on a sane and normal level, but it doesn't answer a ton of these questions. And, when you get the way that ghosts are normally portrayed, contrasting with this, you're like, okay, so what is the deal with the puppet ones, And I wish they had bridged the gap and explained it more, and, we didn't get too many answers. And I know that if they had focused more on the subplot, it would have been a more chill and low-key Ghostbusters movie, and everyone wants the big wacky adventure. But yeah, because we couldn't focus on this, it didn't really go anywhere, and it doesn't feel like this one ghost doesn't feel like the other ghost. And I wish it led to more answers as to what a ghost in Ghostbusters is like. I wish, maybe if it felt more dangerous, like she could turn into a more abstract creature at any time or something. I don't know. And that's the thing is with the subplot, I feel like there was something there, and yeah, I don't know where we were going with it. So that also leads, like, the villain of the movie. He's cool. He's got a really cool design and a pretty big threat, but he is also just, like, bottled up at the end of the movie, and I wish he was out there wreaking more havoc for longer. He's interesting, but just not in it very long, and that's what I say, is there's so many cool plot elements, but we can't do all of them in a movie. A streaming show maybe, but not just in one movie. So, yeah. Cool elements. I love the classic Ghostbusters feel. I loved going back to New York, and I like all the characters. You get, like, when you go to Winston's lab, there's a fun new lab guy there. Again, a ton of characters in the movie. I still liked them, but just, a ton going on, and it's fun, just a little bit unfocused, a little bit messy, and I wish this was a streaming show instead, or that they had focused on less stuff. But overall, though, it is really cool seeing the ghosts, seeing some classic ones. I just wish it had more focused. I wish it was tighter, but still a world that I absolutely love. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Ghostbusters playlist where you can see my review for Afterlife. I also unboxed a die-cast Ecto-1 in there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.